Look at that. It is live here. There's nobody in the room yet. Whoa, look at this. John Watts. Hello, John. My color is really blue looking for some reason. It's very strange. Let me see if there's a way to fix this. I've never done, well, take that back. I have done a live stream like 7 years ago. It's the last time I did one on YouTube. So this is the first time in a while, and it's a little crazy. So let's see what we got here. Da-da-da. Tiger named Jared. Hi. Hello, John. All right. So I'm trying to figure out if I can change a color setting here. Let's see. Is there a way? Share screen, mute. This is all new to me, this whole thing. So basically, for those of you who have just joined, all two of you, hello, thank you. I am picking up all my Anovos parts. I'm going to start trimming them, because this project set around for, I don't know, 7 years. I started it and then I put it away because of reasons that have to do with Anovos themselves being so shady. And I was like, I don't want to promote this brand. But now Anovos is out of business and I've got this stuff sitting around. So I was like, I may as well put this together now. Again, didn't want to do it because they're turds. And the reason they're turds is because I did work for them. I made mannequins for them for Comic-Con, and for stuff they were scanning at the archives. I did probably 6 mannequins where I reposed them, cut up the fiberglass, reposed them. And I gave them a really good deal. And they didn't pay me for 2 years. And then when they decided to pay me, they paid me in these little chunks, a quarter of the price at a time. And they only paid me 3 times out of the 4 times they're supposed to pay me. So they technically still owe me money. So, but since they're out of business, it's not like I'm promoting them. Anyway, sorry for the blue. I don't know how to fix this. Let me see if will my color adjust? I don't know. It's weird. Live streams are some of my favorite things to watch. Well, that's awesome, man. Hopefully this is good. Spice Runners Lounge, Gordon. Hello. All right. Let's see here. It's the blue is crazy. How do I fix this? Anybody got suggestions? This is supposed to be white, but look how blue everything is. In my camera settings, I have a, what is this? It's like a Razor camera. The camera's real nice, but if I install the software, it wants to do all this, take control of a bunch of things that I don't like. So I never installed the software for this camera, and makes some tweaks a little difficult. Rip Anovos, as an accountant, really wanted to look at their books. Oh man, they had some issues, let's say. There are people still waiting on fulfillment for their order, and I guess Duo Novo, which is, I would never go with that name if I was taking over a company and sound like the company that was awful. I would never do that. But apparently part of their thing with getting a license from Lucasfilm is that they had to fulfill all of Anovos' orders. And they took over all of Anovos' molds and manufacturing and all that. And apparently that company's doing much better than Anovos was. But again, Anovos owed me money, so I didn't take it on. Now, if you saw that, the back, a while back, I did a video where I scanned all of these parts. And I'm going to put the files up on Thingiverse probably at some point. I'm going to do a little cleanup, and then I'm just going to post a full Stormtrooper suit. But I still have to scan a helmet and a couple, I think, like the hands and belts and some other little things. But anyway, I'm going to start trimming these things. I've been putting this off for years. So I've got my trusty, what is this? My Ulf blade here. I got 2 of these. I got a small one and then a large one. And for foam fabrication, this company makes really, really, really good blades. These blades hold up a long time. Now this one, the end is kind of janky because I cut drywall. So we'll see here. Let me find a piece that's a little more forgiving. I don't want to cut up the torso yet. We'll just get to it. Now, if you've been here for a while, you may have seen that I had excuse me, I have a big pile of parts right behind my computer here. I had a playlist started with this build, which I have kind of abandoned since then. Now, for the trimming of these parts, you see stickers all over. They have put a pretty nicely defined line all around where they're supposed to be trimmed. And for the most part, it's pretty visible. So I guess we're just going to have at it here. Let me see if I can adjust this so you guys can see what the heck's going on. I don't know. Let's see. nothing real special. Just following the lines, and I'm trying to score this so that I can snap off the excess plastic. Let's see. Ba-ba-ba. And that is it. That's the excitement. And that's what I'm going to be doing for the next probably like hour or so. I don't know if I'll be live the whole time, but I'll be starting it here just so I can add it to the Stormtrooper build so that if I have to reference it, I can. So what I'm doing is just very carefully scoring the plastic around the predetermined line here, which I like that they did that. They did a pretty good job. It just slipped, so let's hope I don't break it. And the worst is what I just did is I slipped a little bit and put a scratch, which hopefully isn't deep enough to cause it to break in an unfortunate way. And let's see here. Follow, pretty good. The scratch I put was very, very shallow. I don't think it's deep enough to do anything. It's pretty light, so it should be safe, but should be good. Yeah, this having a live stream on here is not something I've done in a long time, and it is it nerve-wracking to do this? I don't know. Part of my brain is like nervous about it, but the rest of it really isn't. I'm trying to make it so that if I slip, I catch it. And also the light is really funky on here right now, so when I'm trying to guide it, the reflections screw my eyes a little bit. So just trying to stay in the groove. I don't even know if I'm on camera here. Yep. Bonk. And if it's rough on the edges, I can always go back and sand it, but I'm just trying to keep it as close as possible to the markings so that it looks real sweet. What I should do is set up a second camera for close-ups on the hands. Maybe if I do the live stream again, I will do that. This is part number 11. I see a cat going upstairs. Wink. So, have I done it enough? Now I'm going over once. Typically when I'm cutting plastic like this, I'll score it like 4 or 5 times to make sure that the scoring marks are nice and deep so it cracks easily. Gordon, you ever coming back to Tampa for a visit? Probably, I'm guessing maybe in December I might be back in Tampa. I was in Florida about in March, I think. Was it March? Was that even this year? It might have been last year. Last year, March. And then I was back in December. It's been a while since I've been there. I don't have tons of time. And then I get a lot of crazy projects that I don't know exactly the schedule all the time. I know something's coming up, and then I get this weird like fear of leaving. It's kind of like FOMO, but I just don't want to miss out on work projects because sometimes stuff will come up, and I swear the second I leave town, I will have something come up that's really awesome. So I just went to work in New York 2 weeks ago, and right when I left, the casting thing came up for a movie that's coming out in a few years that they're filming right now. And now they're starting to book on the days where I was going to be out of town. So the fitting days, I missed it. So I basically didn't get to that part because I decided to go work out of town. And every time I go work out of town, that happens. So I try to avoid it unless I know it's days off that I can get away with. Live streams, somebody. All right. So it's weird because YouTube is not the place where I have the biggest following, but this kind of stuff I prefer to do on YouTube versus Instagram or TikTok or any of those places. Yeah, I should probably get my glasses. And so you guys know I started wearing glasses probably a year and a half ago. They're really low. It's not even prescription, just like readers to help magnify stuff up close. And I almost forget to wear them all the time because my eyesight's still decent. But when I get into stuff that's this close, they'd probably be helpful. I don't know. Bummer, Gordon. Sorry to hear. Yeah, it happens all the time. I mean, my whole life is full of missing little opportunities, but I also get a lot of opportunities too because just put myself out there for like everything. So when stuff comes up, I just submit for like roles and films and things. I don't even know what the hell most of them are. I just submit to it and we'll see what happens. Like I just submitted to one like right before I got on here for like sign spinning mascot. So like somebody in front of like a cell phone place spinning signs, and who knows, maybe I'll get that. And I'll be that weirdo in the background spinning signs wearing some goofy costume. I like all of it. So if it's a really cool role, that's great. And if it's just like a background role, that's great. It's fun for me either way. And I just like being on set for things. And sometimes you submit for a background role and then it turns into a bigger role, and you never know. You never know. You never know unless you go do it. So if you enjoy just being there, being part of it, that's like half of it right there. Well, Tampa Bay 501st family misses you. Thanks, John. I haven't seen those guys in forever. Does everybody still do MegaCon and stuff? I'm assuming everybody goes to Orlando for MegaCon. So I would like to go into town for that if I can arrange it. And I haven't taken out many of the costume things in a while to just do like an event. I do for 3PO. I'll take 3PO to the Hollywood Christmas Parade almost every year. Did I do it this year? I might have skipped it. The year before I skipped it. I think I did it this year. And maybe like one other event a year. There's a couple baseball games that are pretty fun. They have Star Wars night. But outside of that, I just don't do it as often. Not for any real reasons other than it puts a lot of wear and tear on the costume, and it's not always the most productive, I'll go there and beat my costume up, not get any money, and then I'm like, well, nobody saw it. It's not worth it. So I just wait. Let's see. MegaCon was nuts this year. Lots of awesome Star Wars costumes. I love MegaCon. I miss it. I haven't been to that in a long time. And it's one of my favorite conventions. I really enjoy it a lot. Completely different crew from the old days when you had 3PO in a box on a skateboard. What's funny is I got one of those big, like, what is the Husky roll around, or Stanley, one of those big cases of 50 gallons. And I fits the whole costume better than that little thing I used to tote around. But I like the skateboard. I really like being able to push the cart around on a skateboard. Just sort of felt like it was floating. I didn't have to lift it up and do anything weird. I could just, wheel it about. And it was perfect. I really enjoyed it. Look how slow I'm going with this. This is taking me forever. Yeah, I should go grab my glasses real quick. What else everybody been up to? Anything exciting going on in Florida? Look at that. Da-da-da. I basically, too, part of the reason I did this is I have to pack all this stuff away, and because the pieces are not trimmed, they don't all fit in the box properly. So if I trim them, then they'll fit better. And then if they fit better, then it's easier to work on the costume. Whereas right now, not so easy. I'm going to break off this knife here really quick, and I'm going to grab my glasses like an old guy so I can see what the heck I'm doing. So I'll be back in 1 second. No. All right, I'm back. I don't know where my glasses are at. They're probably upstairs. So I'll go get them in a minute. But I'm going to break this thing off right here. Can I do this with my bare hands? Is this smart? I did it. Didn't even cut myself. That was a little bit risky. Look at this. Good afternoon, Gordon and everyone. Hello, Mike. I had a troop since before COVID and when I got my CPA license. Wow. Yeah, it's been a while then. Got my Anovos Trooper, but never finished it. That's the whole thing. The Anovos Trooper. So what inspired me to get back to it was actually right before COVID. I went to work in New York at Tom Spina's shop, and he had put one of the Anovos Trooper costumes on a mannequin and it was really beautifully done, where it didn't look like a costume on a mannequin. It legitimately looked like someone was wearing the costume, and it was super cool. It just looked so good. And I was like, man, I have one of these costumes. I have a blaster, I have shoes, I have the whole thing, and I got a mannequin, but I need to cut it up and like pose it a little better. So I'm going to try to replicate what Tom did because it just looked so good. It just looked like a guy standing on set. It didn't look like a display stormtrooper. It looked like a person, and I really, really dug it. So that's my goal. Let's see. What did I miss? Got a CPA license. That's pretty crazy. Florida's been hot as heck. It has been hot here too. It was 115 degrees on Saturday. It's 115 degrees here. And speaking of heat, I am doing heat training right now, which means today it's going to be 113. I'm going to be outside riding my bike for probably at least an hour because I will be crewing the Badwater 135 Ultramarathon. It's across Death Valley. It starts at Badwater Basin and goes all the way to Mount Whitney, 135 miles straight through. I crewed it 2 years ago for my friend Lindsay Phoenix, I'm crewing it again for her this year. And her race started at 11 p.m. And at 11 p.m., at the start of her race, it was 120 degrees at 11 p.m., like almost in the middle of the night, 120 degrees out. It was freaking gnarly. So, and this year's supposed to be hotter than that year. So I got to acclimate to the heat. But that said, the heat out here, I put a post up the other day. It was like 109 degrees, and I was out for a run trying to get heat training. And 109 out here feels like 96 in Florida. So temperature, the numbers are higher, but the humidity in Florida makes it way, way worse. And I ran in Florida for years. So yeah, it just doesn't feel as bad. But you dehydrate really fast here, which is not good because I don't feel thirsty easily, which is not a good thing because I'll get dehydrated before I know it. So I have to remind myself to drink. It's part of the training. There goes my cat. His ass. This might be a good boost to do so. Exact same thing here. So, oh no, still never got Anovos. Yeah, so if you weren't here at the very beginning, I had issue with Anovos. I put this at the beginning of the video where I did work for them. I made actually modded mannequins for them. I did six mannequins and gave them a price. And this was right when it was one of the first jobs I got in 2017 when I went freelance because I was doing architectural renderings for years. And then I went freelance. And one of the first gigs I got was this Anovos gig. It was at the exact same time when I did the C-3PO for Adam Savage. So I was doing both those projects at the same time. And I was like not sleeping, trying to get all this stuff done. And Anovos didn't pay me. They just didn't pay me. They ghosted me for like 2 years. And there's a certain individual who's a giant piece of garbage who would talk trash about me. And the guy from Anovos was like parroting what that guy was saying. But a good friend of mine corrected him on the matter. And then finally they started to pay me. And they still never paid me the full amount. They paid me 3/4 of it, but never the full thing. And I didn't want to promote them after that. It was very annoying. Let's see. Tom Spina is an awesome fellow. Oh yeah, Tom is great. I've worked with Tom for 10 years, almost 10 years now, since 2014, like the end of 2014. I've worked with Tom Spina, and I've been out to his shop lots of times. I was just there 2 weeks ago. Really, really fun guy. One of my favorite people to work with, and just fun to hang out with in general too. Blaster boots, armor, and a mannequin. Yep, same. Yep, blaster boots. That is the same. Life-size Vader needs a trooper. See, I've wanted to build life-size Vader for years, since probably late 90s. I wanted to build a life-size Vader, and I haven't done it yet. I just need to make the room for it. It's too crazy. And in the house here, I will get in trouble if I start putting characters all over the place. Will David Goggins be at that race? He has done it before. I don't know if he'll be there this year. He has done the Badwater, I think, more than once, and it is a freaking gnarly race. It was very fun to be on the crew a couple years ago. I did my first 100-mile ultramarathon in April, and I made a video, which is I'm going to try to post here soon. I have like multiple videos that go together, and 2 of them are done, and they're actually on YouTube, but they're not live yet. And then my race video, I need to edit and post. Is there any way to replicate 3D printed Iron Man suits using HDP plastic from containers? There probably is. So I kind of had a weird idea about doing this with some 3PO hands. And what I wanted to do was take the mold or the casting and turn it into a mold where it's inverted, and then do kind of like what do you call it? How they make kayaks and stuff, where they like blow molding. So take the plastic from like plastic water bottles and heat it and push air into it into the mold, so it takes its shape. And then it cools, and now I have a part. So I thought it'd be really good for doing like 3PO hands and maybe even arm parts if I could make the mold right, because I could take a 2-liter bottle, heat it, and shrink down a little bit, pop at my mold, heat it, reinflate it, and be good. Hang on a second, guys. I have a phone call. I don't know how to mute this thing for a second. Let me see. Sorry, guys, phone call. There's a big fire somewhere nearby, and I need to go check it out. So that'll be cool. But yeah, so I thought it'd be cool to make printed molds and then use heated plastic bottles and blow them into the molds. And they'll be super, super cheap, really easy to recreate, trim them. And especially for stuff where it's like a background droid or 3PO that I want to wear at the parade. And if it gets all banged up, I don't really care. So if I could do that, I think it would be awesome. And I have some closed molds that I wanted to test it in. It's something I've been thinking about for a long time, but that could work. But there's a few different ways to do it. And if you're going to do heated plastic against a 3D printed part, as long as you coat it, I use a urethane epoxy, and I've done vac forms for like my RA7, the lenses. When I did that show, Jedi Temple Challenge, and I made all of the little like wrist armor for the kids, the competitors. They were like little stormtrooper kind of gauntlets. I did those all vacuum formed on 3D printed bucks. I made, I don't even know, 40 of them or something, some crazy amount. I did masks out of plastic like this, pretty sturdy plastic, for the show called The Masked Dancer, which is a spinoff from Masked Singer. And all the masks for the partner dancers I made all of those, and they're vacuum formed. I made the buck, 3D printed the buck, and did that. So you can vac form on 3D printed parts. You just have to give a good coating on the top to make sure that there's just enough heat resistance. I have to go run a meeting. See you later. All right, dude. It was good seeing you. Have fun. John wants listen to David Goggins while training for Gasparilla. Managed to get a sub 2 hour. Nice. Yeah, dude, he is a tough dude. Like he basically just runs through some crazy pain and stuff that I probably. I mean, like I said, I just finished my first 100-mile ultra marathon, so I'm an official ultra marathoner now, which is awesome. I'm looking for my second one to do. But you know, I had knee surgeries. Maybe you guys have seen all this stuff. I got this giant surgery scar on my leg where I had my knee taken apart like 3 times. That was awesome. So I can't run as fast as I used to, but again, did a 100-miler, which is pretty cool. Let's see here. Let's get this thing trimmed out. I'm debating whether I should just loosely trim. I don't know if I'm in camera doing a hand here. I chickened out on the shoulder a little bit without my glasses. I don't want to screw up my cuts here. So essentially, I think a lot of you guys might have done this already, but I'm doing a really light pass, score it along the line, and then once that's established, I'll go in and do a heavier pass here. And this one is going to get trimmed a little more. So this is just the rough cut. So this one's not as critical. A pair of pliers and a glove would probably be really good here. There we go. Get rid of some of this extra plastic. I need to trim the underside of the buck. It's so crazy that when Anovos sell these suits, I think I got it at Star Wars Celebration in 2015, and it took a long time to get the actual armor, and even longer to get the helmet kit, because I bought the armor kit, which came with a completed helmet, but I wanted to build everything, so I bought a helmet kit and the armor. And the armor came in, and I did an unboxing video probably like 7 years ago, and the helmet took like another year to get here, so I didn't get the helmet for a long time, even though I ordered them at I think at the same time, or within like a few weeks of each other. I think I was like halfway, had ordered it, and was like, if I'm going to build a whole suit, I'm going to build my helmet too. So anyway, did that. The helmet I've got down here right now is actually not an Anovos helmet. It is I can't remember who made this. I've got a whole bunch of Stormtrooper helmets here. Too many. Surprising amount, considering I've never done 501st or worn a Stormtrooper suit in an event. I've got a lot of Stormtrooper parts here. I got a full Sand Trooper too. Let's see. Yes, dry air in AV. Yeah, so much. It's crazy. GJ, is there a way to replicate 3D? Yeah, so that has to go running. Catching back up. Sorry. Are any of the videos new ways to tint gold by any chance? I know you mentioned something about chroming, dyeing chrome for. So there are multiple ways to do it. My favorite way is to tint a clear coat, put it on top. I never put the dye right on the metal finish, like in the metal. It's better to do chrome and then clear coat it with your preferred color. I feel like that works really, really great. And I've tried so many things now with metal paint, so many that one has just been really consistent and very easy to control. And even with like just cheap spray paint, I did a video where I did C-3PO foot, and it was just silver spray paint that I tinted gold. And the tinted gold silver spray paint looks better to me in person than gold spray paint. So I just like the control over it. You can tweak the color a little bit. It has like a nicer look. My phone is going off. Oh my gosh, everybody's writing me. Hold. Let's see. My wife is sending me pictures of there's a big fire somewhere. That's good. So there's a picture of the fire, looking great. Plus our tickets from when we went to, let's see. Oh, sorry, getting emails like crazy. We went to Catalina and went snorkeling and so forth. It was awesome. Sorry for the interruption though, but yeah, tinting the silver to the color is my preferred thing. I've done inks in different types of clear coat. I've done food coloring, which works shockingly well. Like you'd think food coloring is so cheap and terrible. Holds up awesome, looks great, and extremely cheap to do. Really, really cheap to do. It cannot be gel food coloring. It has to be liquid. It cannot be gel. If you take it out and it contains glycerin, look on the ingredients. If it contains glycerin, will not work well. It never dries properly, and the surface will be terrible. So it cannot be glycerin. It cannot be gel. It has to be something else. All right, my first part, rough trim. I still got to go in and trim it up, but this is like all this excess plastic that I don't have to store away anymore. So I should have a bin over here for this, which I don't. Oh yeah, Vista Fire is north of Rancho Cucamonga. Yeah, I wonder where this thing's going to be. What I did watch of Acolyte, I kept thinking of you and what he might. I didn't make anything for Acolyte. I think Acolyte was filmed in the UK, and I've made stuff that's in all of the shows that have been filmed here in California. There are things that I've made in the shows. Sometimes I didn't make them specifically for the show, but they ended up in the show. and then, but as far as I know, with Acolyte, I don't think there's anything I made in it, just because they shot it so far away. They just had like a whole different team of people making stuff. I remember the Scar's kind of epic. Oh yeah, the knee stuff. Vista Fire, the North Ranch Cuckoo. Have you been in any movies? I have been in a few movies. Most of the time, it's just like some goofy thing. Like, if you don't know where I'm at, you probably miss me. A lot of random stuff. I did let's see, Army of the Dead, Zack Snyder. That was a really fun project. Let's see, The Gray Man. If you've seen The Gray Man with Ryan Gosling and Billy Bob Thornton, I am in the very first scene of that movie. Where the very first scene, you can kind of see me, and it's a little bit of a weird moment because all you see is my neck. You see my neck and my jaw, and that's it. Because I was Billy Bob Thornton's de-aged double, and I had to go on set and learn all the lines. And they had Billy Bob Thornton and Ryan Gosling were there, and then myself and then Ryan Gosling's younger double were there. So we had to learn the script and go sit down at the same table. We had to watch Ryan and Billy Bob do the scene so we could mimic what they did, and had to go sit at the table, do the scene, and then they, through the magic of computers, used me to de-age Billy Bob Thornton. So that was one. Curse of Bridge Hollow. I've done a lot of Netflix kind of things. I've been in both Rebel Moon parts. Same thing. Really see me, it's like a flash. Barely see me, even though I spent weeks working on that. See me for like, boop, that's it. Unfrosted, also Netflix. I was in that. And let's see. Done a few other things. But yeah, they're fun, man. It's fun doing movie stuff. I really enjoy it. Even if it's like I barely get seen, the whole process is really fun for me. So I don't complain much. It's fun. And you get to see cool stuff all day, cool props and costumes, and sometimes some really amazing sets and so forth. So quite a good time. And Domino Fire off 14 Freeway. That might be the one close to me because I'm pretty close to the 14 Freeway. We had that big the Sky Crane helicopter flew right over my house last night, really slow, and the whole house is shaking. My cat started running away. And I go out there, and this helicopter, couldn't have been lower, right over the house. Very neat. That helicopter looks like a big mosquito, and I love it. Let's see. I put on TV Star Wars to keep me motivated for the trimming part. I've lost my Star Wars love, though, over the years. I'm now a big Predator Xenomorph fan. Excited for the new movie coming. Yeah, my friend Trevor played the Xenomorph in the new Alien film, which is going to be really cool. And yeah, it was pretty cool. I got like a little some stuff with the new Predator thing that's pretty neat that I know about, but I can't get into it. Let's see. Have you tried polyester resin instead of high quality resin? Tried polyester resin instead of high quality resin. It's a lower quality polyester resin. It's the last for a long time. The low quality polyester. Well, the high quality, there's polyester they make high quality polyester resin, and then like hardware store polyester resin, which hardware store polyester resin is kind of like the consistency of honey. And then the really expensive stuff is more like water. Like if you're wetting down, saturating your fiberglass cloth, the more expensive stuff saturates more easily, which I like a lot. However, a lot of the time I end up using the cheaper stuff just because it's just what's available. And once it's cured, I can't really tell the difference. I feel like the sturdiness is the same, feels pretty similar as if it's done properly. It's just the wetting of the cloth is easier with a more expensive resin. And sometimes the cure cycle from going from liquid to a solid is a little more linear, whereas the cheaper stuff kind of like liquid, and then it like kicks off really fast. And I feel like the more expensive stuff has a more even, you can tell that it's about to kick before it does, which I kind of like. But yeah, I'm excited to see the new Alien movie. I haven't seen that yet. Should be good. Oh yeah, Weird. I was on Weird. I forgot. So the Weird Al film, that was really, really fun to shoot on. That was on Hulu, I think. Is it Hulu? I think it was on Hulu. And that day was crazy. I didn't know that I was going to be in a Weird Al film. And I was very, very happy that I was, because I love UHF. And this movie had kind of that same energy where, sorry, I'm looking at this before I trim these shoulder pieces, because the one of the lines is a little faint in the casting here. I didn't know it was going to be a Weird Al film when I started. I got in there. I think the casting thing came up a bunch of times. I think I did a video about this because it was such like a random thing. It's like I talked about before, where I will submit to just about everything that I see, just because you never know. There's things that look dumb and they end up being really, really fun days of work. And that was one of them. This thing came up for David Bowie. It was like they were looking for lookalikes for David Bowie, Elton John, and Alice Cooper, I think. I think those were the three people. It might have been John Denver. I think it was Alice Cooper. And yeah, so anyway, I saw it, and I didn't submit to it the first time it came up. And then it came up again. They're still looking for people, and didn't submit. And then it came up again. This was like over the course of like a week. And usually they find people really fast. So if you see a casting call come out, you'll see it once, and then they usually find someone within like the day. It's pretty quick turnaround a lot of the time. So I was like, man, I haven't found anyone. I'm like, I wonder, like, if I don't feel like I look like any of these people, but maybe let me go look at their attributes, see how tall they are and so forth. And it turns out David Bowie and I are almost exact same height. We're 5'10", almost the same weight, similar build. So I was like, maybe I could try this. I sent a picture of me with my bald head, just normal me, and sent it in, and a picture of my full body so they could see my build. And the director wrote me back and was like, hey, could you do mimic this makeup, which was like what is it? Ziggy Pop, not Ziggy Pop. What am I saying? Oh my God, I'm blanking right now. Gordon, come on. I haven't been sleeping very much. The Ziggy Stardust. There it is. Ziggy Stardust makeup with like the circle on the head and all that. So I raided my wife's makeup in and redid this makeup and sent it in, and didn't hear anything for a couple of days. And then they wrote back and they wanted to offer me the part of David Bowie for this film. And I was like, oh, that's so crazy. So at this point, I don't know what this is for yet. So I go look online to see where Alice Cooper, who else did I say? I don't even remember now. But it was like Elton John, Alice Cooper, and David Bowie. I was trying to find any places where they've all been together, because it was a weird casting thing. It turns out that at the Grammys, like sometime in the 80s, they were all backstage at the Grammys. I found this story online. They're all backstage at the Grammys, and Prince, the artist formerly known as Prince, or Prince at the time, was going to be performing. And when he was coming through the backstage to perform, his security came through and was like, don't make eye contact with him. It's the whole story. So in my brain, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this must be a Prince like biopic or something. So I look up, and sure enough, they're working on Prince biopic. So I'm thinking I'm going to be in the new Prince biopic. I had no idea it was a Weird Al thing still. So I called my brother. I'm like, man, I think I'm in the new Prince movie. And then going on a bike ride or something, I got a call from the wardrobe people trying to set up time for wardrobe, and they asked if I could bring this wig that I wore for my pictures, because I am very bald. So it was like, can you bring that wig just for the wardrobe test? And I was like, sure. So I go talk to them, and the wardrobe lady's like, do you know what this is for? And I was like, nope. Thinking in my brain, I really know that it's for, this Prince documentary or whatever. She goes, this is for the Weird Al movie. I was like, Weird Al movie? And I think it was codenamed like the Odd One or the Odd Movie or something like that at the time. So it didn't say weird, didn't say any of that stuff. Had some code name, which they do a lot with films. So anyways, very excited at that point. But yeah, that shoot was really fun. and got to meet Harry Potter and Dwight from The Office, and it was a good day. It's quite cool. Let's see. I'm in Vancouver because we get the fires every year too. 6 out of the last 7 years, city fills up with smoke and you can't go outside. It's kind of like that here. We've actually been kind of lucky with the smoke at my house. Like where I'm at, it's really windy, and there's been multiple days when there's big fires and the smoke is like just to the north of us or just to the south of us and just misses our area somehow. But when we lived more in town, there was a couple of times when there's some bad fires, and it was just like, I mean, thick smoke outside. It was crazy. Let's see. Have you ever been to any Asian countries? I've been to Japan and I've been to Korea. And I went to Japan in 2012, maybe. Yeah, I think 2012, 2014, 2012. I think it's before I moved to California. 2013, and no, 2013. I went to Japan, and it was awesome. I loved it. We went to Tokyo and Nara and a little town by Mount Fuji, which ended up it was real pretty and neat, but it ended up being kind of a bust because there was all these storms going on when we were there, and the bullet train stopped, and we missed a night that we're supposed to be at this other place because I was going to hike Mount Fuji, and the whole day got screwed up because the train thinks that we go to this town. It wasn't enough time to hike the mountain, but there's nothing in the town to do. So, but it was beautiful. It was really cool to be there. And then in Korea, I was part of a focus group for Samsung. And a few years ago, Samsung did these little vacuum cleaners, kind of like a Roomba. And they did Star Wars themed vacuum cleaners, like Darth Vader and like a New Order Stormtrooper look. And I somehow got on this like focus group. I was like the one guy in this age range, and there was like people from like, you know, every like 10-year age gaps. So there's someone that was like 18 to 28, 30, in the 40s and whatever. So I ended up being like in the early 40s age group or whatever. And they flew us out to Korea. I got to go to the Samsung factory where they make all this stuff. And it was a really cool trip. Super random. We had a meeting in Santa Monica before that. And, you know, like, again, focus group, they were showing us all of these products that they were getting ready to make. And all these different vacuums, these different artwork and different styles of art. So it'd be like Darth Vader, but like 5 different types of designs for the Darth Vader and, you know, some other characters that they were talking about doing. And we came in and we gave a bunch of questions. And the guy is like, oh, man, those are really great questions. Really great questions. We'd love for you to talk to our engineers over at Samsung in Korea. And we're like, okay. But my brain's thinking they're not going to do this. You know, it's crazy. They wouldn't fly all of us over there. And then sure enough, like a few days later, they're like, hey, we need to get your passport number so we can get your plane tickets. And then they flew us all to freaking Korea. And we went to Samsung and hung out and saw their prototypes for these vacuums and gave our input, which is cool because the product came out and it's like stuff that we critiqued on, made it onto the final product. It was kind of cool. Let's see. I'm building a life-size static prop Xeno, and I'm using EVA foam clay on a mannequin. I'll probably use latex to seal it all together. Is there something better, in your opinion, I could use? Better than latex? I would do creature cast if you can get it. It's neoprene. It doesn't smell quite as gross as latex, and it lasts a little bit longer. It's really similar properties to latex. Like you can coat foam with it, and it's called creature cast. And they make a thickener for it, so you can, and they make it in different hardnesses too. So if you want a piece that's like kind of stiff, like a prop, you can do a harder thickness, or if you want it to be thin and flexible, you can do a more flexible version. I've got a couple gallons of it in the shop, but that stuff is awesome and really easy to work with, and it's a little more expensive than latex, but not too much. And it comes in black. I think it comes in white too, but you can already get it in black. So you can just paint it on, and it's now the part is already colored, so it's going to be sweet. Do you need cosplayers that are so good at crafting costumes and props that they've been hired to work on Star Wars show or movie? Yep. Yes, I would put myself in that category because I made costumes for myself, and then I got working on shows and working for Disney parks. I made costumes for other movies. So yeah, definitely a lot of people that are in the costume world. That, you know, if you take it to like a professional level, then you've got like a great portfolio to show people. If you go to a shop, you can do it. My friend Jack he's working at the Hinson Creature Shop. I met him. He was like 16. I met him in Chicago, and he built a, foam fabricated RE7 costume. It was incredible. And it's this kid. And now he works at Hinson, and it's awesome. He's making stuff for films all the time. It's really cool. So I think the big part of that is that if you're really, really good at building costumes, even decently good, there's plenty of people that are like, okay, but they've got enough skills that you could plug them into a group of people that are working, and you get someone to art direct them, and they'll do fine. So I think it's a good portfolio piece if you want to go work in a shop, but you got to live close to a place where there are shops. I feel like living out here in California opened me up to so much more work that I would not have been able to get if I still lived in Florida. But now I think if I moved back or moved somewhere else, I've like established enough of a network that I could probably still get work. It wouldn't be as frequent because right now I can work on stuff and just drive into town and do test fittings and things like this. So yeah, I did. If you have seen The Masked Singer, this last season that just passed, I built the gumball costume that was the guy made all the way to the finals. I built that whole costume right in this house. I didn't even work at a shop; I just built it here, and the guy went all the way to the finals with it. So look up Masked Singer Gumball, and that's a costume that I made just last year. Box by Legend. Hi, hello. Let me see and go back and look at these things. I'm not being very productive with this trimming. I'm getting a little bit done, but not as much as I was hoping. However, it's fun to chat with everybody. I like that part. I've been using Flex Seal from Home Depot instead of Permawet on latex. If you ever need a real high shine on latex, I just bought some recently to test for something, and it makes a beautiful high gloss. I actually was testing it for, what did I make? I did something really recently, and I bought Flex Seal specifically for that. The gloss came out fantastic, and I was going to test to see if I could chrome. Oh, I was doing, I was going to be chroming some foam latex prosthetics, and I wanted to see if I could get a really flexible high gloss finish using that stuff. And the gloss finish was great. I didn't test the metal on the surface yet. I think it would work. Didn't test the metal on the surface, but the cure time was too slow for the project I had. I wouldn't have enough time to coat everything and let it cure enough to work with the time. I had like a 3-day window or something and like 150 parts that I was supposed to paint. So ended up not using it, but I really liked it. And I'm actually kind of excited to try it on some other stuff because it's really cool. I'm curious as to how it holds paint, though. Have you tried painting it to see if it holds paint well? It seemed like almost like it's like silicone based or something. The way it feels like the surface feels kind of slippery, which I don't know if it actually is or just because it's so smooth it feels like that. It won't take paint after it's on. Gotcha. That's the thing is I got the clear one because I figured what I was going to do is paint the parts like whatever the base color, then do the clear and have a gloss clear. And then I was going to see if I could put all clad on it, if it would hold any metal. But I don't know. But I have a whole can of clear right here. I only tested a little bit. I loved it. It was awesome. Have you tried any of the other stuff? There's a couple other companies that make similar products that I wanted to test, like the what is the other one? There's another sealant like that. It's not Flex Seal. It's like they use it for spray foam, like the Plastidip kind of stuff, but they make it in different colors now and some different finishes. And I haven't experimented too much with all those, but a long time I used Plastidip on foam fab projects, and it worked really, really well. So I don't know, but it wasn't glossy at the time. Now they make it again different colors and everything. People paint their whole cars in it. It's crazy. But Yeah, this is freaking cool. I haven't done any work, guys. Hold on a second. Let me get back to this. Let me grab another piece here. I'm gonna get some pieces that are forgiving so that I can just trim and not be scared. All right. Again, my eyes are not as good as they used to be. Cutting right toward myself. Oh, my appendix is okay. Boy, I just scrolled it up. What has everybody else been up to here? Anything exciting? I did my Predator suit in Flex Seal, the skin part, and armor did in Perma-Wet. The armor doesn't shine half as much. That's a good idea. Yeah, I like that. Like using the gloss to its own advantage for stuff like that, where you bring it in a little like slimy kind of look and that like wet, gross Predator skin. That is very cool. And it breaks up the surface too. Like even if you're painting the same base color and then you have like a matte finish on one piece and then, you know, gloss finish somewhere else, it really sells. Like you get someone's face and you do the gloss on the lips or like by the eyes to make it look like they're wet. I think that looks really cool. It's a good trick and holds up nicely. Have you worn your Predator suit out anywhere that I would have seen it, or is it on? You have it online? All right, not quite enough score here. A little bit more. Da-da-da. Let's see. What other questions did I get here? Yes, I've worn it a few times. So hot. Oh, I believe it, man. It's Predator suits are no joke. It's definitely a hot one for sure. Do you have I'm assuming you have a body form, or did you just do it like right on the mannequin? Or was it made like custom to fit you? I know, like a lot of people ask me stuff like that about like 3PO. Like, isn't 3PO so hot? I'm like, 3PO is not bad. It's like the monster suits. Those are way, way, way worse than 3PO. They're so much hotter. 3PO is actually lets a lot of airflow through. Is anybody doing a San Diego Comic-Con or anything? I'm trying to determine whether I'm going to be there or not. I'm trying to figure that out. If the days don't overlap. My Badwater experience obligations. Look at that. Boy, this in the vacuum form stretches pretty far. It gets really thin on the sides, and a razor can just go right through. I used a mannequin that was oversized muscle mannequin. Started with nylon suits, then entire suit. Nice. I did one of those like pull up morph suits for a project, and I didn't have any time or budget. The budget was like, we'll give you this much money, and then it was like, actually, we only have this much money. Actually, we only have this much money, and I'd already put a bunch of money into this thing, and I was like, well, you used up your whole budget, so the suit's just going to be a morph suit, and I like stippled it with latex just to give it like a just kind of a skin texture so that in the light it would kind of read as like some kind of animal skin. It worked, but man, I would have liked to have done a full muscle suit, but the budget just wasn't there. And it was a little sad in that regard. But I made a cool mask for that, which is, if I do the next live stream, we'll try to do it up in my room because I got more stuff up there that's interesting to look at in the background. And that will be pretty fun. Maybe I'll do these live things every time I go to trim this suit because this is kind of fun. I don't get to talk to people enough. I'm at home all the time and run around like a crazy person. So it's rare that I just chat and just talk about myself for hours. Oops, did I mess it up? No, it's okay. Full sculpted suits are a long process. Yeah, the full sculpted ones is no joke, man. And it is it's a lot of work, and then to make the molds and everything is very expensive. Um, and then if you're doing it foam, you got to have an oven to cook it in, to bake your foam. That's not cheap. The whole process is kind of crazy. And I guess those ovens, I mean, I've seen people build big ovens for making suits where it's literally like, because the temperature in those ovens doesn't have to be super hot. I want to say it's under 200 degrees. So people will just do like big cardboard box, paint it blacks, and just leave it out in the sun. And if it's like hot weather where you're at, like here, that's enough to bake off the foam. Now, is that recommended? I mean, if you can have a real oven, obviously that's going to be better. But apparently it still works. So I've seen people use those things to cure certain types of resin. Recommend heat curing it. So some of like the high impact resins are definitely ones that if they're not heat cured, they can be like, they can tear, which is not fun. And that is not cool. But yeah, full sculpted suit, amazing if you got a budget for it. Super cool. And you can make yourself extra ones. Once it's done, you got a mold and you can bang out a few of them. Put your friends in them, and you can have a whole horde of predators. Here we go. Ta-da. All right. Sweet. Partially cut. Part of a biceps. Only taking me forever. Look at this. Carefully. Initial score. And next piece. I always like on the Stormtrooper armor, in the original films, a lot of the pieces had these like kind of like heavy returns on the side, and it made the piece look really thick. And even as a kid, I thought that looked neat. So I'm going to try to leave as much of that as possible, even if it's slightly more uncomfortable. I like the look of the thicker armor that was on some of those costumes. Pretty neat. I was impressed to my local fan expo, an actor from Prey who played Randolph. Oh, that's freaking cool, man. Yeah, I'm friends with Dane, who played the Predator in Prey. He's a friend of mine. I've worked with him a couple times. He's a nice dude, man. I don't know. I know who you're talking about, Rudolph. But there was like what was it? God, what's his name? The Native American guy that was in Prey also. I met him at Monster Palooza out here. He was freaking cool. Yes, the guy with the vintage gun. No, it's I just watched that again maybe like 2 months ago. It's pretty fun. I like that they kind of went a different direction with it than the older ones. So it didn't feel quite like they were like with the Alien versus Predator movies that look, all the suits in those are really, really cool. But movies are sort of, they're not the greatest. But the costumes are amazing. And that's fun. So it's like, I don't know, trying to find the positive in it. I think the second one, was it the Alien vs. Predator Resurrection, was not that great. But still, again, costumes, both awesome in all those films. Very good job. Let's see if I can do this without cutting my fingers off. I really like Prey a lot. And it's the studio that made the costume for it. I don't know if you guys saw the movie Malignant. But I painted all of the blades for Malignant, the weapon that the main character uses. I painted all of those. I did all the gold paint. And I did it for the same studio that did the Prey costumes. So I've been out there. They moved a few times actually since then, but twice, or once and a half. They moved and then they closed down. ADI. They were really cool. It was a fun place to do work with. Cutting. Is everybody at work today, or does everybody have off? ABP2 is so bad. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. The second one was it. It was. Is it Requiem? Right? Is that what it's called? Alien versus Predator Requiem. The second one. Yeah. That one was like. That one I could just forget about and I'd be okay. The first one wasn't bad. It was fun for like it's like fan service kind of angle was fun. I'm a kind of a sucker for that. So I recognize those portions are like, this is kind of fun. But overall, realistically, not the smartest movie, but pretty fun to watch. I enjoyed it. And as a fan of both of the franchises, it's kind of hard to like not want to watch these characters. Try not to slip again, like I just did. Hope I don't mess this up. I've been off way too long time to get back to it as a SolidWorks design engineer. Time to get back to it. Oh yeah, dude, SolidWorks is rad. I did a costume. I helped with one for Magic Wheelchair a few years ago. And one of the things that they gave us for helping was a license to SolidWorks, like a legit license. And I installed it on my computer and went to use it. And my computer was not strong enough. The computer I have here would handle it. But my other computer, the second I opened it, was like, hey, you're going to run out of resources here in a second. I was like, oh, my God. I didn't even start a project. It was just like open a project and immediately it flagged like you don't have enough resources to basically run this program. I'm not saying this verbatim. I can't remember the exact phrasing, but it was like an immediate warning about not having enough power to run the software, which is crazy considering I didn't even start a project. I use Fusion a lot, and then I'm looking at plasticity just to have another thing to use that is another tool in my tool chest, I guess. But I would love to learn SolidWorks too. There's a lot of crossover from people that I work with when I'm using Fusion. I end up handing off files as step files so they can use them in SolidWorks. And the transition actually works pretty well, like painlessly. It doesn't have any of the history of the part. So, they can grab the part and start working with it. It just doesn't have any of the saved history. I mean, if that doesn't matter, then it's fine. Do you ever work with anyone up in Vancouver, where Hollywood North was filmed? Let's see. I knew people that went to Vancouver to work. I don't know if they still work there. It's been a long time. But I had never worked with people that went to Vancouver, but I knew people that went to Vancouver for a while. But I think a lot of them have moved either back down here or moved somewhere different. But I love Vancouver. I've been up there. It's real pretty. Yeah, mainly you need just these graphics cards. That's like this computer I have now would run it, but I've never tried to reinstall it since then. Plasticity has been on my radar. I got a sub-D add-in, but struggling to learn it. Yeah, it's like that's the thing is I went from a lot of poly modeling because I did 3D Studio Max and Maya and then ZBrush. And then I started to learn Fusion so I could learn more solid modeling. And I combine them a lot. I use Fusion and ZBrush together a lot. But plasticity seems like it kind of handles some stuff in the mid-ground. Let's stick on my finger. Handles some stuff in the middle between those two programs in a way that I think would be really useful. But I don't know if I'm going to get it yet. I think once I get a project where I think I can use it, I'll just break down. I'm just going to buy it because you own it, which is great. They have the one what is it, like 150 bucks or something, and then there's like a $300 version. But the $300 version has a lot of stuff that I think I'd probably just spring for that version. And then if I use it, great. If I can use it for a few projects and get my money back, that's awesome. Maybe I'll keep using it. It looks great. I mean, I see a lot of people doing some really cool tutorial videos on it, and it seems very, very useful. Radar, subline. Like a lot of things, just need a project that needs it exactly. Well, that's how it was for me with Fusion. I got a project for Disney Cruise Line, making some what are they called? The R2D2 little like CPU arms, and I was like, this is a perfect project for me to start learning Fusion on, because I wanted to learn Fusion forever. I had it downloaded, but just never dove into it because it's not that hard to do, but compared to what I'd been using, it just seemed way, way more difficult. Not more difficult, just I just didn't know it. And so that was the project. I said, this is the one. Oh, you hear that? Sirens. I said, this. Sometimes crazy planes fly over my house. It sounded like a plane was coming over. But that was the project. I was like, this is it. And it took me like 2 or 3 days to model this stupid thing. That would have taken me probably 30 minutes to do in 3 Studio Max. But I'm glad, really, really glad that I dove into it, because now I use Fusion all the time, and I am pretty proficient in there. I can get around, make stuff. The droids, if you saw Book of Boba Fett, the car dealer droids at the table, I did all of those in Fusion 360. And the only part, David Ferreira did this upper arm, like the top arm that's supposed to move, but the painters broke it. Good job, painters. That was done in SolidWorks, but I modeled everything else. And then David plugged in some parts for some servos and a couple of my pieces, but all Fusion 360 for that, those car dealer droids, the RX droids. And they use them for the, what do you call it? The luggage carts. It was the same droids, but different visor, but they repainted them to look like totally different droids, but it was the exact same as the car dealer droids. Of course, we saw a Book of Boba Fett. Yeah. And so, yeah, so that was my contribution to that movie, and that and a couple of the R4 domes, the tall domes. Mike McMaster owns a mold for one of those, but I did all the castings out of it. So anytime you see one of those R4, I think there's maybe one that floats around that I didn't make, but it's from the same mold. So I can't tell which one it is, but most of those R4 domes I made. Obviously I made those, like these guys up here, cantina little things. So if you ever see the cantina shots and those are dangling, I made those. But these are not the droids you're looking for. But that was fun. But yeah, Fusion I used for those. And then I'm trying to think, I feel like I did one part. There's one part that for some reason Fusion wouldn't combine part of the top of the head and the mouth portion of the RX droid. For some reason was fighting. I ended up like exporting them and bringing them into ZBrush and then using ZBrush to mod the pieces for one part, just because I couldn't get it to print any other way. Is it TK for yourself or someone? I hated trimming part of my first. Bosk is awesome. I just saw a Bosk thing. He had like, where did I see that? Someone had a Bosk costume. I wonder if that was yours. The Bosk is amazing. This is for me. I'm going to make it wearable, but the odds of me actually wearing it are probably pretty low. Maybe I'll put it on for something here or there, but to actually wear it to events, it's probably not going to happen. I just want to put it on a mannequin and display it. But it will be wearable so that if I want to wear it, I can pull it off the mannequin, a big old hassle, and then put the thing on and go wear it around. But I don't think that I'm going to do more than that. How long have I been here? I'm like an hour. I've trimmed like 2 pieces. This is how productive it is. All right, let me grab another one here. Da-na-na-na. I did Dancy Bosk on. Oh my God, that's awesome. Dude, the Bosk, the whole like mask and everything in the arms, and that whole like flight suit that he had, that the high altitude flight suit kind of thing in the film. I freaking love that. It's very cool. I actually just really like all those bounty hunters from Empire Strikes Back. I just pretty much every single one of them I think is awesome. So I am a fan of all. I'll be doing a 4-LOM eventually. I've started it, and I'm gonna do a Patreon. It's set up. I mean, it's like set up, but I haven't posted anything to you. I'm trying to make time to get some projects under my belt so that if I can't keep up to my schedule, I have some filler material on days when I can't do my Patreon. So that's part of it. But I'll probably do my 4-LOM through Patreon. And maybe Zuckus, but don't know yet. I got really good 4-LOM reference from the archives. Got to see a bunch of the pieces of real costume and take measurements and so forth. So it should be pretty cool. I think. I don't know. I'm trying to think what other droids. I'm doing CZ3, which on some of my videos where I'm in my room, you can see it in the background. He's pretty close being done. My wife is Zuck, as I'm his boss. That's awesome. She looks exactly like that Black Series toy. She's shorter and chubby. That's amazing. That's so awesome. Yeah, like I remember when I was a kid, 4-LOM and Zuckus, the names were mixed up on the toys. I mean, clearly 4-LOM is a droid name. And then it was like, that was very annoying because I felt like I had to argue with my friends. I'm like, they messed up. They wouldn't mess up. It's Kenner. They wouldn't mess it up. But they did. It used to bother me. And man, that made me nuts. Because I'm like, dude, it's like 4-LOM is a glorified C-3PO pretty much. Different head, a little bit different chest. And then the rest of the whole damn droid is C-3PO. And they're going to call this other thing 4-LOM and then C-3PO. I'm like, no, it's a droid name. Droid name. Don't mess with me, people. There's this guy, Cameron, from Australia, who did a 4-LOM, all foam fabricated, and it looks freaking awesome. And I followed the guy just because like the build was cool, but then he did this video of like, oh, here's how I put on my 4-LOM costume. And he just put the whole thing on by himself, which if you've ever worn a protocol droid costume like C-3PO, that's impossible. I was like, how do you just do that? Like with my hands on when I'm doing 3PO, I'm lucky if I can touch my fingers together. I definitely can't touch my face or anything. I couldn't put my arm up to put an arm on. And he just put the whole damn costume on and it was amazing. So I was just like, okay. But then it turned out it was foam, but I didn't know it was foam fab because he did such a good job on it. So really impressed. And he now has the prequel era naked 3PO without all the shells and stuff. And very good. And it's like a walk around costume, all fabricated. Really, really, really cool. Hey all, hello. But yeah, it's been pretty wild. Let me see here. Let me see if I can get one more piece trimmed, and then I'm gonna have to call it and get back to some real work because I didn't think I was gonna goof around so much on this. I was like, I'm gonna make a lot of progress and do this, but it seems like I just like to chat instead. Which chatting doesn't get as much work done. However, it is fun. I think what I'll do is next time I'll set up a secondary camera so that you guys can see the close-up of what's going on, and not even just for trimming parts, but just for anything. I feel like it'd be cool to have a secondary camera as I do stuff. I can do more live videos. Yep. There we go. Cut around the curve. Let's see. Can I get these parts scored enough? Maybe, just maybe. Might work. Scoring plastic. This is like, it's fine, but it's slightly stressful. I don't like that. I don't like that like snap, and it feels like I'm going to break something. But it seems to work just fine. Just scary. It just scares me. Oh, my phone. His phone is ringing. Let's see what message I got now. You don't like the shears? No, I got some shears. They work all right. I should probably grab them. I've got some like 10 snip shears that work really great on plastic, but actually I know exactly where they're at too. I was like, I don't know where they're at. That's what I was going to say, but I just found them a few days ago, so I know exactly where they are. And we moved to this. We moved to this house like just about 2 years ago, almost exactly. And I've just endless work. So I haven't done any of my own projects, and all my tools are in weird places because of it. Let's see. Sorry, I'm getting freaking casting things, which is got to pay attention to them, because if you miss them, then sometimes you miss the gig, because people submit very quickly, and that basically is not very fun, because then you miss your shot. And if you want to be on some movies, you got to freaking submit to everything. And the chances of getting picked are really, really small for most things. So the power of numbers. I submit a bunch and then hope for the best. And it seems to work. Sometimes something cool comes up. Let's see. Yeah. And I'm hoping that I don't miss one of these things for the Mandalorian movie. I don't know. Hopefully it's not terrible, but I still would like to be part of it. I remember seeing Lexian's scissors back in my RC cars. Dude, I have those. I have 2 RC cars up in my other room right now. I have an old school. These are things I've had since they were new. I got an RC10, Team Associated RC10, and a Tamiya Hornet, which I've had since I was a kid, and it has the same Lexian body that I had since I was like 10 years old or 8. Whenever I got that damn thing, it's still on there. It's missing the spoiler. Still have the whole original shell on both of the cars, and that stuff cuts real nice. This stuff cuts fine with the shears, the snips that I use. This stuff works fine, but I still end up going in and sanding more. Whereas if I cut it carefully, I can usually get the break like right up to where I want, a little easier. However, I think that was a good call on the snips. I think I'll probably break them out for some of the big pieces, even if it's just for rough cutting the corners and stuff. It does definitely speed it up. There we go. Party time. I learned a lot over the years from following you in your vids. Thank you, man. That's good to hear. I'm glad. If there's anything you ever want to know, let me know. I'm trying to try to get a little more consistent here on YouTube. I love doing YouTube. I really enjoy doing YouTube a lot, but my time frame has been really crazy for a couple of years, more than a couple of years. So I'm trying to make like I said, I'm doing a Patreon and doing the things so that I can kind of justify spending some time working on my own projects. I've done so many projects for people that I've taken video just in case I can share it, because some of them have really cool processes, but until I get it okay, I won't be able to share them, which is a little bit of a bummer. But I videotape a lot of stuff. We'll see. I mean, like those, like the Masked Singer thing I was talking about. Took a bunch of videos of that. And then I also worked on a couple other seasons of that. I think I can share some of those videos, but they were working at a company. So those I was at Stupid Buddy Studios, just at the shop working. And it's a little bit different vibe, just taking videos. Like, here's how I'm doing this. They frown upon that a little bit. RC10T, I wish I kept it. Oh, yeah. And then dude, I love my RC10. The reason I broke them out, the reason I'm up there is because I wanted to use them as reference, because I want to design my own 3D printable RC car. I'm trying to figure out how much I can just print and how much are parts that I'll probably need to buy, like pieces from the hobby shop if I'm going to get shocks or motors or whatever. I want to make sure everything lines up. Look, casting forever. Let's see what this role is. Club goer, bartender. Don't want those. But I love that car, and it drove so great. Eventually going to get around and making a life-size Ark of the Covenant, and we'll use your 3PM to make it our goal. Dude, they are really cool. I've seen one of the real Arks in person, and it is very gold. They refinished it like, I don't know, 12, 13 years ago, and they used spray chrome to refinish it. So it's very, very gold, very shiny, and it looks awesome. One of them, in my opinion, is slightly too yellow. I think they went a little heavy on the tint, but still pretty. Yeah, that's what I've been. Yeah, too. I just want to make angles. New sub will be watching. Sweet. The cherub, yeah. Oh man, yeah. The Ark is pretty freaking. I think someone told me there's a Howard the Duck inside of it at the archives. I could be wrong. I haven't looked in there myself, but that was the rumor, which wouldn't surprise me because there are Howard the Ducks at the archives. So that would be kind of funny. So maybe someone is posted on the internet, which you're not supposed to, but sometimes people do. And there may be a picture of Howard the Duck inside the Ark of the Covenant at the Lucasfilm Archives. It's a beer cooler or something inside. Make it a beer. Oh yeah, make it a beer cooler inside. That's actually not a bad idea. So one of my projects that I had on here that I started a long time ago is my Han and Carbonite. I have all the pieces. Another project I broke out recently to like try to put this thing back together. I used the box for a bench for like years. I just put it on 2 sawhorses and it was like a project bench. But I dug out all the castings, got the thing kind of cleared out, and I want to put that back together. And that's another thing that I want to turn into some kind of shelf so that it's mounted on the wall, but that swings open, and behind it are shelves so that I can basically use this space. So I have this Han and Carbonite, but it's not just sucking up a giant chunk of space in my room. Maybe I'll store spray paint in there or something. Just make it usable so it's not just like a space suck. Howard the Duck. Yeah, there's like a lot of Howard the Duck stuff at the archives. It's kind of crazy. And it was stuff that I wasn't expecting to see the first time I went there. So it was like, oh my God, Howard the Duck. I mean, my brain's thinking Star Wars, Indiana Jones, maybe Willow, which there's a lot of Willow stuff too. But I preemptively like didn't consider Howard the Duck. And sure enough, Howard the Duck. That was awesome. All right, let's see here. Boy, this stuff is fun. Yeah, let's be good. What time is it? We got about 5 minutes left, and I'm just going to call it so that I don't suck up my whole day sitting at this table. Because I got to go in about an hour and go outside in the heat and cook myself so I don't die when I go to Death Valley. Apparently, some motorcyclists died at Death Valley the other day, which is not good. Let's see, what is the temperature like right now? It is 111 degrees. 111 degrees right now outside my house. And it's going to get a little tiny bit hotter in about an hour. So that's my goal, is to go at the hottest point of the day. And that's probably still going to be 10 or 15 degrees cooler than Death Valley. So got to get my heat training in. Trimming is the worst. Oh, I know, dude. It's taking me freaking forever. I'm going to grab the snips for the next bit, and because that was a good idea. Because this sucks. It's too slow. It's hot in Vancouver right now, too. I know, it's so wild, like how hot it's been. This year has been crazy, crazy warm here. Oh, we just went up 395 joking we're going to Death Valley. Dude, Death Valley is awesome. And I don't know if you've been there or not, but it's a really cool place. I've been there a couple times before, but then when I crewed Badwater a couple years ago, it was really, really neat because basically it was there. like in the middle of the night. Like, you know, the runners go all night long. Their race started at 11 p.m. and it was like past what is it, Golden Canyon or whatever, where the Jawa Canyon, and in early morning waking up at the dunes where they filmed R2 driving away. We're literally hit that dune waiting for our runner, like right there at sunrise. It was really neat. We had a heat dome 2 years ago. 600 old people died in town, Brunel. Holy, yeah. Oh my God, that is crazy. That is so crazy. Yeah, the heat waves are not cool. No pun intended. But I wish I thought about that when I said it, because that sounded funny. Almost got this piece trimmed. There's like a funky bend here. Yeah. Can I get it? Ah, there it goes. Yay. So fun. And again, any of you who've come in and didn't hear me talk about it, you see the inside of my parts have all these stickers because I was testing to see if I could use something else instead of those tracking markers, because I 3D scanned all of the Stormtrooper stuff. I scanned the inside so that I could produce bucks. If I needed to make bucks for a part, I could do that. And just as easily, I could extrude out like a 1/16 of an inch and then create Stormtrooper parts. So when I went to scan it, I was like, let me see if I can. I only had like a tiny handful of the dots. Oh, my wife's coming in right now. Honey, you want to say hi? Hi. look at Natalie's cowboy hat. So I put these in to see if I could get different tracking off of the 3D scanner, and it seemed to work wonderfully. So yeah, so it's not. I know people are like, oh, the other ones have these reflective surface, and yes, they have little reflectors and stuff on the better dots. But adding these, just a tiny little thickness of these pieces was enough for the scanner to pick up on, and it worked really, really, really well. And these are cheap, really, really cheap. Now, of course, those dots are still valuable for certain things, but if you could get away with something that's like a fraction of the price, why not? You know what I mean? So that is what I did. So once I get this piece finished, I'm going to call it. I'm going to go have some lunch and go outside and get some heat training. It should be good. The Badwater documentaries are awesome. Everyone should watch them. It's pure humor. Yeah. Oh, there's another one coming out called it's like the Ultra documentary. It's like the new one. It's gonna have a thing about Badwater, and I will be in it from 2022. And I also filmed a bunch of stuff because they gave a bunch of the running crews cameras to bring along with them, so they have a bunch of footage from different running crews. And apparently they're going to use a lot of my footage. So they wrote to me and said, we're using a lot of your footage. You did a good job. Made me feel special. But I don't know when that comes out. It's called, I'll tell you what it's called right now. Look it up and find out when. Whoa, big old fire. Ultra. Let's see. Come on. I don't know. I thought it'd come up right away, but I don't see it. All these Ultra runners doc. I don't know what it's called. I'll post it on here later. If you've got it this far in the video and you're watching this, I'll put it in the link below when I find it. But that was supposed to come out last year, but they're in the process of editing stuff. So hopefully it comes out before this year, because it'd be crazy if it comes out 2 years after the fact. But sometimes that's how it goes, because, budgets and so forth for putting movies together sometimes can be fickle. So sometimes places will have a budget and then it'll just go away because the place that was going to pay them decided not to for whatever reason, or they can't, or they went bankrupt, or it happens all the time. So we'll see. Gosh, this part is tricky. Why is it so tricky to do? But yeah, the Badwater is going to be cool. And I took a lot of video last time, never put it together for YouTube, but I will definitely put it together this year. And I'll try to get more cohesive video because I had like a lot of random clips. but I'll try to make it make a little bit of sense so you can see what it's like on the crew side. Because I get to run probably, I think the last one I ran just shy of 30 miles. Like if I ran 2 more minutes, I would have hit 30 miles, but it was spread out in 2-mile increments over the course of the race. I think it was at like 29.86 or something, like some ridiculously close to 30 miles, painfully close. And but again, spread out, so it'd be like 2 miles here, 2 miles here, 2 miles here, and then 4 miles, and we take turns pacing our runner. So it was really, really cool. Did you get the forearm done? Let's see. Did you get a forearm done? Sorry, been chatting so much. I got almost a bicep. I got a hand and a good chunk of one of the shoulders, and I just popped apart the 2 shoulder things, but I'm going to do them more carefully because like my hand is like fidgety and I don't have my glasses on. So I'm going to put my glasses on before I get to those. I'm trying to just bang out this next bicep piece, and then I'm going to get the heck off of this thing. This is, if you can see it, very close. It is very close. It's just getting this silly thing. There it goes. Sometimes it's like you get those compound curves, and then you got to flex it this way to get it to crack, but there's a curve that's the wrong way that makes it fight you. You know what I'm saying? So getting there. Almost done. And it's all kinds of fun. Oh, more messages. All right. Thanks for the chat, Gordon. Of course, man. It's a fun time. Again, this is fun to do. I haven't done these in a long time. I love doing live streams. Very rare that I get to just say, I'm going to sit down for 90 minutes and do a thing. But if I do these every time, look at that. Ta-da, perfect timing. Okay, so bicep trim, shoulders, part of the shoulder, or what do you call this? Trap straps. Part of shoulder, and some other bits, and then a hand, 1 hand plate, roughly trimmed. I still need to cut it back because it's like the loose lines, but pretty stoked. Do you ever lose motivation during projects? No, I don't usually lose motivation. What I get distracted by other projects. So my brain just wants to keep doing all of them. I like it. Sometimes some stuff gets a little bit like, a little drudgery making it through some parts, but I wouldn't say I lose motivation. I just have too much motivation for too many things, which is not quite the same. Like I never feel like, oh, I don't want to do it anymore. It's usually like, oh, I got this other thing too. There's too many shiny things around. But yeah, but I never, like in my brain, look at this. This is 7 years. See my blurry, come on, focus. There we go. This thing has been, come on, 7 years that I put this thing off. And in the back of my head, it's still an ongoing project. Even if I haven't touched it forever, it doesn't feel like I abandoned it and I'm still excited to do it. It's just whenever, hopefully time comes up, So, but yeah, anyway, thanks for stopping by, guys. I am going to freaking call this one. And hopefully it was fun for everybody. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. And I'll pop back on again in a few days and cut some more pieces here. Have fun. Thanks, guys. Bye.